Okay, folks, we're talking about two-way relative frequency tables. So slightly different than, I suppose, regular frequency tables. Relative just means that we kind of like talk about them as percentages. Okay. Um, so in this first one right here, Athena asked 200 cell phone users which size phone they prefer. She presented the results in a two-way frequency table. How can you use the data to compare the percent of students who use the small screen to the percent of adults who chose the small screen? Right. So what we're doing here is we're comparing the small screen right here. So we're kind of just going to look at this column for this, right? So if we talk about students versus adults, right? Students versus adults. Okay, we got 48 students who prefer the small screen versus 18 adults. Now, actually, we don't look at this 66 right here because we're actually looking at students, looking at this versus this, and this versus this, right? So we got 48 out of 100 for students, and then 18 out of 100 for adults. So very easy to do a percentage for this, right? You just divide it out, you get 0.48, which, and then you move your decimal over here to right there, and you get 48%. Same thing right here, it's just 18%. This isn't a super easy one because it's out of 100. Just for the calculations, kind of the first one. So we got 48% of students prefer, because it's relative to the number of students and relative to the number of adults. We're not looking at the total right here. So we would say 48% of students prefer a small screen. Compared to 18% of adults. I mean, I don't know how realistic this data is. They wrote this book a few years ago. So, yeah, I don't know. I think people prefer bigger phones just in general. Anyway. Okay. So we're going to put one together right here. So Jayla asked 150 parents and students about the preferred method of communication, email versus text. What percent of people polled were students who preferred email? So let's total this out here. This is just our regular frequency table here. This one will be our relative two-way frequency table. Okay, so I've got 18 plus 12 is, well, we know the total is 150 because we got that from right there. So 18 plus 12 is 30. 18 plus 102 is 120. 30 plus 120 is 150, so we're good there. 18 plus 18 is 36. 12 plus 102 is 114. And then we compare right there. 36 plus 114 is 150. So our stuff's all good here. Now, make it a relative two-way frequency table. So all we're going to do here is compare these percentages. Like, we're going to figure out percentages for each one, right? So for email, we're going to take that 18 divided by 150. Okay. Just write it real small there. I'm just going to use a calculator for this. Let's see. Can we see that? Let's see. What's the best way to do that? There we go. It's not too bad. So we'll say 18 divided by 150 gets us to 12%. We just move our decimal point. Right? And that's what we do. We just take all of the numbers here and we just divide them by 150, right? And that's going to give us our percentages here. So I take 12 divided by 150. Okay. Gets us to 8%. Okay, and then 30 divided by 150 should 30 divided by 150 should get us 0.2, which is 20%. And we can see that 12 plus 8 is 20%, so right there. Oh, 100% is going to be down here, right? Because 150 divided by 150 is 1, which is 100. So we just kind of do the rest. We already know 18 because we already did that, so that's 12% right here. Now if we add those up, we should get 24%, right? So that means that 36 divided by 150 should be 24%. Oh, look at that. Okay. And then we can just kind of keep filling it out, right? 102 divided by 150 gets us to 68%. 68 plus 8 should be 76. 24 plus 76 is 100. 12 plus 68 is 80. So that's our relative frequency table. It's basically just converting it into percentages. So what percent of people polled were students who preferred email? So students who preferred email is 12% right there, okay? Okay, so that's our summary, right? So we say what percent of I already said that. So 12%, 12% of the total were students who preferred email. I mean, you could reverse the question as well. You could say like the percentage of students who preferred email was 12%. But anyway, excuse me. Now this question right here is talking about the whole thing compared to the total, right? We're going to specify. We're going to get a little bit more specific as we go here, and we're going to talk about just the rows, and then we're going to talk about the columns in our next questions, right? Use the data to make a two-way relative frequency table by row. Okay, so row is this way. Okay, column is up and down. Okay, so according to the row relative frequency table, what percent of students polled attended the last home game compared to the percent of faculty polled who attended the last home game? So what we're going to do is we're just going to look at the rows here. We're not going to worry about the columns. So I'm not going to worry about the total right here because I'm worried about the total for students here that adds up. So looking at 68, so this is 68 divided by 68. That's 100% right there. And then 27 divided by 27 is 100% right here. It's relative to the row, right? So it's relative to students. We're going to look at the data here and look at the data within that for the faculty or for the staff, right? So we got 42 out of 68 is going to give me my percentage here. Okay, gets me 62%. Okay, and then we should get, what is that, 38% for the rest of it? But let's just double check. 26 divided by 68. 26 divided by 68 gives us 38%. There we go. Okay, 62 plus 38 is 100 right there. Okay, and we do the same thing except we compare 15 to 27 and then 12 to 27. So 15 divided by 27 is 56%. And then we should get around 44% for the other one, right? It's a little bit off because we're rounding. What was it? 12 divided by 27 gets us to 44, yeah. Okay, so for faculty, we've got this here. And then for students, we're comparing within that kind of like relative column, or sorry, that relative row right there. According to the row, what percent of students polled attended the last home game compared to the percent of faculty? So out of students, 62% attended the home game versus 56% of faculty, okay? So we'd say 62% of students, and then we could say versus 56% of faculty attended the home game. Okay, so that's kind of how you look at it within row. Now we're going to look at columns here. You'll notice that I'm not worried about the total here because that would be looking at the rows. Sorry, that would be looking at the columns up and down, but I'm really only worried about the rows. Okay, now this one right here, we're going to do columns. There's an extra S in there for some reason. Use the given data to make a two-way relative frequency table by column. 8th graders check out a greater percentage of ebook than 7th graders. So we're going to look this way vertically instead of horizontally. So I'm not going to worry about the totals over here. I know that for 7th grade, the total was 207. 207 divided by 207 is 100%, and then 197 divided by 197 is 100%. Now, I'm going to take that 85 divided by 207 to get this column here, the percentage. So 85 divided by 207. Okay, gets me to 41% here. And then 122 divided by 207 Gets us to, let's see, 59% once we round a little bit right there. Okay, so that's the column for 7th graders. Now we'll do the column for 8th graders. We've got this 125 divided by 197. Is 63. And then we should get roughly 37% there, because it's 72 divided by 197. Round that up to 37, we're good to go. Okay? All right. According to the 2A, do 8th graders check out a greater percentage of ebooks than 7th graders? So 8th grade, 63 does ebooks. Yes. Yeah, so we'll say 63% of 8th graders versus 41% of 7th graders. Check out ebooks as opposed to 2 audiobooks. Okay. All right. A bit of a throwback. We're going to solve this equation for x. So we're going to take that 3x to the left side. Okay, it's positive, so the inverse or opposite is subtraction. So those cancel out. So that gets us negative 8x minus 7 equals 9. I bring down the 7, sorry, that minus 7 and that positive 9, because I haven't done anything with them yet. And I want to bring that 7 to the other side. So the opposite of subtraction is addition. So what cancels out there? I get negative 8x equals 16. And now I'm going to do the inverse of this multiplication. It's division. I divide by negative 8 on both sides. They cancel out to 1. So I get x equals a negative 2. Because it's 16 divided by 8 is 2. That 8 is negative. So there you go. Okay, there you go, guys.